Hey everybody, it's Carol with Refunction Crafts again. I'm bringing you what I hope is going to be a cute tutorial, and forgive me if it turns out to be a flop because it's something that I have not done in the past. And so I'm going to give it a shot right on camera. So if it's a flop, we'll flop together. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using this little tiny mint tin, and I'm going to be making a shadow box out of it. This tin, and I have another one. My friend Nancy sent these to me. I was looking for, I've been looking to try and find the old aspirin tins, like the Bayer aspirin or Anacin or one of those that you used to be able to get back in the day. I know I'm showing my age here by talking about these, but they are perfect tins to make lockets out of, and I've been wanting to do a locket, but this one, it turned out to be just a little too big. I had a couple about this size and tried to make them, and they just are a little bit too clunky, but I thought, you know what, I know that I can do something with these tins anyway, and Nancy was so kind as to send these to me. She had two of them. She sent them to me, and so I am going to make something with one of these today. So thank you, Nancy. I think this is going to be really, really cute. So what I'm going to be using is this tin. I'm going to be using an image. I have one of these cute little angel, resin angels that I get from Kiki's sale that Debbie sent to me from there. And then I'm going to be using some, a variation of flowers, paper flowers, and some Spanish moss and a few other things that I've got out here I may or may not use. So anyway, I'm going blindly on this one, you guys. I have not, like I said, I have not done this before. I just used this so you would be able to see the pieces that I had on the table here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started on this. This tin has been painted. It started out to look like this. And I've got something in that one. So it was a little pink tin, mint tin. And Nancy had actually already painted this one and sent it to me. So yay, Nancy. I was excited about that because I didn't have to paint it. But anyway, the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to take some of this Spanish moss that I have here, and I'm gonna stick it on the inside. We're gonna do the inside first on this one. And so I'm just going to take some of my Gorilla hot glue, and I'm going to just sort of put some around on the inside here of the tin because I want it to be sort of behind the angel. So before that stops sticking, I'm just going to start pressing this around. It doesn't have to be perfect, you guys. I'm just kind of doing this wildly because, as I said, it's just moss and it's supposed to look, you know, I want it to look as sort of natural as I can. And then I'm sort of in the middle, I'm pressing it down a little bit harder so that I make sure that it sticks and that the angel has enough space to still be able to close the lid on the tin. So again, this will be a little shadow box. I'm just trying to get rid of all of the excess Spanish moss before it gets into everything. This stuff can get really, really messy to work with. Okay, so we've got that in there. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to put the angel in just like that behind the moss, or I'm sorry, in front of the moss. And so I'm just going to add a little bit of Gorilla hot glue to the back of the angel. And I'm going to press her down into that moss. I'm just going to hold her down for a minute so that she stays pressed down as far as I can get her, again, so that we can still close the lid when we're done with this. Okay, and the other thing that I'm going to use are some, Debbie with Kiki Sale sent me some of these leaves, and I don't think she sells these in her store, but she was kind enough to send me a few because she knows I like using them in my projects. And these are so pretty. These are actually some even prettier ones than I've used in the past, but I'm going to see. These may be too big. I'm not sure, but we're going to try it out and see if we can make them work with this. Because we're going to be putting some of these little tiny rosebuds and some of these tiny roses in there around the angel. And I just want to I wanted to kind of put a leaf or two behind them. So the first thing I'm going to try to do is put a leaf in here off to the side. And then I think this other leaf, I think some of them seem smaller than others. So I think with this one this is a little bit smaller leaf, I think, than the other one I cut off. And I think this one I'm going to put up above, sort of by the angel's head, or by the top of the wing here. So there, we've got the two leaves in there. And then we're going to work a little bit with these little tiny roses, and I'm just going to clip a few of these off. We're going to have pink and white. And I took some of these other roses out as well, but I think these are just too big for the inside of this tin. But we're also going to be doing something with the outside of the tin as well. So I'll probably use the bigger flowers on the outside. Sorry about that. We've got a plane going overhead, you guys, if you can hear that. Okay, I don't want to get too many of these flowers going on in here, but I want to get enough that that they show up. Okay, so we're just going to start sort of randomly placing these flowers sort of more around the leaves. Here, and like I said, I don't want to put too many of them in, but I want to get enough that they, that they show up and they look nice. So I'm just putting a little bit of hot glue on the bottom there, and I'm going to press this one down a little harder because it's a little longer. So I want to, again, make sure that they're going to stay down so we can close the lid when the time comes. And this one I'm going to put right back there. Make sure that you get your little glue strings out of there, because they can tend to want to stick to that Spanish moss. And it's hard to get to once it's in there. I have one little string here that I'm trying to get out. Okay. And then I think I'll put, I'm going to put this pink one up by the angel's head. Again, pressing it down so that I make sure that it's not going to be sticking up so far that I can't close the lid. This already looks amazing, you guys. It looks so, so pretty. And I think I'll probably put this one other white flower here in the other corner. And that's going to be it for the flowers on this one. I don't want to over embellish it. I just want to make it enough so that it's something that's pretty to look at when you open the shadow box, when you open the tin. Okay, I'm thinking maybe I'm going to put one more leaf back here to cover this blank spot up at the top. Yeah, I am going to put one more leaf in there and sort of bend it so that it sits down a little better. And then I'm going to take this little paintbrush tip and press it in. Okay, one of the other things that I'm going to put on the inside of this is I'm making these little little twisties out of the stems of the flowers, just out of these little stems. And so I made a few, and the way that I do that is I just take my paintbrush stick and start it down here and just wrap until I'm done down to the end, and then pull it off and you have a great little twisty for your flowers. And so I'm just going to stick a couple of these in there sort of randomly. I'm going to put a little glue on the tip here, and we're going to tuck it in where you're not going to, obviously not going to see that glue. And I'll probably be putting about 4 of these in there, I'm thinking. So again, put a little glue on the stem. I usually keep one end a little straighter so that I can kind of tuck it in behind things. And then you can also, you know, scrunch it up a little bit so that it's not, you know, if you don't want it quite as long or what have you, just scrunch it up a little bit and that works perfectly. Okay, now I'm going to put a couple in on the other side by the other flowers. Again, just a little bit of hot glue. And if you haven't watched my videos before, I do always use Gorilla Hot Glue. It's sort of my glue of choice. Because I feel like it has like, this hot glue has like a 45-second work time, which means once I put it on an item, I have about 45 seconds to work with it. And we crafters know that sometimes we get into something and we want to pull it back off and it's already stuck and dried, and it makes it hard to get it off of something. So I like that extra work time, number 1, so that I can pull it apart if I need to, and number 2, so that I have a little bit, if I get indecisive about something, which happens often, I have a little time to play with it. So I'm just in here getting some glue strings out. Okay, so that's what we have on the inside of the tin. And I think I don't want to put moss on the other side of this because then it'll just kind of fall off into the other side. So I think I'm going to leave this side blank on the inside, and I'm going to start working on the outside of this tin. So the first thing that I am going to do is, my friend Carol sent me this pearl trim, and I'm going to put that around the outside of the tin. And I am going to use my Gorilla Hot Glue for this. Normally I would probably use Normally I would probably use E6000 if it was a completely hard surface that I'm working with, say just the pearls without the fabric in the trim, because hard surface to hard surface hot glue is not the best product. And even this way it may, E6000 is going to probably hold longer. But I think it'll be fine with this because this isn't something that's going to be, you know, open and closed constantly. And, you know, I make these into pill boxes. And so when I'm doing that, you definitely have to make sure that whatever adhesive you're using is good and strong, and it's going to stay for a long time. It's going to hold it down for a long time. And just keep in mind, which side is of the tin is the front and which side is the back, so that when you start actually really embellishing for this, it's not a big deal. But when I start embellishing the top, I need to make sure I remember which side it opens from, so that I don't put everything on upside down, which I have been known to do in the past. So sometimes I get carried away and I get in a hurry, and I forget to check before I put it together, and then I have to either take the whole thing apart or just trash it, because there's nothing I can do about it. And see, on this one, I'm just going to add a little touch of glue there on the back, because the fabric is a little frayed, and so I'm afraid to leave it like that, and then I'll press it down with my fingers here and then start losing all of the pearls. And as it stands, it looks like we've got a couple of pearls that are trying to find their way off. So I'm just gonna make sure that I put a tiny dot of glue under those two end pearls so that they don't come off, because we don't want that. And we've got a space between the pearls here. This is the back side of the tin. And the way that I would really just kind of rectify that is by taking maybe one of these little white flowers and putting it at the back. But we're not going to do that yet, because I want to start decorating the front first. Okay, so this is the way that this tin opens. So I want to make sure that this is the top, this is the bottom, and this is the opening, so it opens left to, to the left. And I'm going to take this picture and I'm going to use this tin over here, because it doesn't have anything on it, and I'm going to just place it over the top of this image. The image that I'm using today is one that I got from a Etsy shop, and I cannot tell you what the name of that Etsy store was, because I got it so long ago that I honestly don't remember what the name of the store was. But look around. You can find your own image. You don't need to use an image like this one. There's plenty of images available out there. One of my favorite shops, oh gosh, I haven't had a lot of money to buy a lot of things lately, so I've been kind of, my supply on images and things has been sparse. I'll have to think about it. I can't remember the name of the store, but I'll put the link in the drop-down menu below so that you guys know what I'm talking about, because she has the most amazing images. And I have bought from her a few times. And I just love, 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 love. I may have gotten these through her. I'm not sure, but I don't think I did. I think I got these somewhere else, but I could be wrong. But the way that her stuff usually works is that you purchase the images and you can use them the same, like each image, up to, I think it's like 300 times. And then you would have to purchase again. So if you're selling things, it's okay, you can do that, but you can only sell so many of them, so, which is fair, because that's how she makes her living, and so we all kind of have to respect that stuff, right? Anyway, I'm looking to see, this is clogged up, and I need something to pierce it with. So I think I'm just going to cut a stem off of one of these flowers here and see if I can get this to stick through there. So this is Glossy Accents, and this is what I'm going to use to adhere this image to the top of the tin. I used to use triple thick on all of my images and things like that when I would stick them down, or I would Mod Podge them down and do it that way. But I found that my images were getting really, really faded, and they didn't look good. When I was done with the project, it looked horrible because the images had faded so badly that you couldn't, the color, I mean, it just looked cheesy. The color looked cheesy. So I have found that this Glossy Accents works amazingly. And so this is what I always use now to put my images down. And then I also use it on top of my images, because what it does is it gives them an almost glassy appearance. I'm going to try and get a glove over here, because this stuff, it's almost like super glue. I think it's almost a super glue type product. And ooh, this glove is very small. Wow. Anyway, it's like super glue, and so when it gets on your fingers, it's like really hard to get off. So I'm just gonna use a glove to press the edges down on this so that it has a nice edge on it. And this image, I'm super glad I picked this image because it looks really, really pretty on the outside of this tin. Woohoo! I may have to make some more of these little babies. I think I have a couple more angels left. Debbie had sent me a couple more in my last package. This is one of the ones she sent me just recently. So I have a couple left. I need to get some more when she starts making more of them. Okay, so now we've got that image on the outside. Isn't that pretty? And we're going to take, excuse me, we are going to take some Rhinestone Chain, which I have here. This is AB chain, Aurora Borealis, and I am going to put that around the top, around the edge. So I'm not going to cut it off of here yet. I'm going to take my E6000, and this is where you definitely want to use E6000 on hard surface to hard surface, because if you don't, this rhinestone chain is going to fall off so easily, and your project's going to be ruined. And you don't want to give it to somebody or sell it to somebody if you're selling your projects, and then have it come off in, a month. So by using E6000, you're assuring that it's going to stick and it's going to stay and not fall off easily. This stuff is amazing. I don't know what I would do without it, honestly. So I'm just taking and putting a bead of this all the way around this edge so that I can finish off the top of this. And we will start sort of at the corner here and just go around, and I'm just going to lay it down, and I'm going to try and make it look as straight and finished as possible. And then I'm going to touch the E6000 so that it gets all over me. This stuff can be really, really messy. So you have to try and work quickly with it, but it does give you some play time. It doesn't dry real quick like hot glue does. So that's one of the beauties of E6000. You do have time to spare. Let me cut this off. But at the same time, you don't want to let it go too far before you get your stuff on there, because then it does start to harden up. So I'm just going around now and I'm making sure that it's straight. That is so pretty, you guys. Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm thinking, part of me says, I have a couple of the teeny tiny angels that Debbie has given me, and I'm thinking they need to be cleaned up a little bit, but I'm thinking maybe I might want to put one of these on the outside, or do I want to save them so that I can make more tins? Because the one I have on the inside, that's my favorite angel that she makes. Because it's like a not too small, not too big, but then again, these small ones are perfect because if you want to put them sort of on the outside, which I think I'm probably going to use that on the outside of this tin, since it has an angel theme on the inside, we'll put a little angel on the outside as well, sort of along that rhinestone chain. We're going to use it. Woohoo! Anyway, I'm super happy with how this is turning out, you guys. I'm like super excited. And we are going to put this rose on this edge. So the main thing I wanted to do was to get the rhinestone on there before I put this rose on. So that the rhinestone wouldn't be a pain to get on. Okay, so we've got that on there. So this is what we look like so far. Isn't it gorgeous, you guys? OMG. Nancy, thank you. This is turning out better than I ever even anticipated it would come out. So thank you, Nancy. And then I think what I'm going to do is, that is just too big. Maybe I'll try one of these bigger. Actually, maybe we'll try two of these bigger roses. And what did I do with my tiny white ones? Here they are. Maybe at least one of those. And one of my beautiful pink ones. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll just use one each of those. Yeah, I think that's the way we're going to do it. First things first, I'm going to put my little angel on here. Let's see. How do we want her to go? There? Or do we want her to maybe go there? Or do we want these to go there and our angel to go there? I think. Okay, I think we're going to put our flowers off to this side. So I'm just going to take my hot glue. I'm going to get my big flower down first. We're going to put the white flower down next, right next to it. And we are going to, this one, I'm not sure. Do I want it to go? I think we're going to, yeah, we're going to have this one go up top. Hopefully I can get it to squeeze in underneath this bigger rose the way that I want it to go. Okay. And then we're going to take, and we are going to put some E6000 on this little angel on the outside. So I'm going to put a dot of E6000 on the top side, or on the bottom, but on the top of the bottom. And then I'm going to put a little dot of hot glue on the other edge, and we're going to glue this beautiful little sweet angel off to this side. And now I'm going to make sure that my rhinestone chain is not all a mess here. It looks like I did get it kind of flipped a little bit. So, okay. Okay, so now we have our baby angel down there. Let's see. I think I'm gonna, just to make this look a little bit more like I'm kind of draping these flowers, I think I'm gonna put one more of these white roses off to the side where it's kind of flowing down with the other one that we put on there on the back side, where we were kind of trying to make sure those pearls didn't loosen up. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys, I love this so, so, so much. And I am not through yet. The last thing that I'm going to do, the last two things I should say, is I am going to put some glossy accents over the image on this one. So what I'm going to do, this glossy accents, and it's going to make this look cloudy for now, but at the end I will probably do a little video so that I can show you what the final look is, because I'm also going to add some diamond dust, and the diamond dust is going to obviously give it sparkles, because you know me and my sparkles, so that it's going to look even prettier. So on the outside. So we're gonna take this, and maybe I'll bring you in a little bit further so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just gonna take this glossy accents, and I got quite a bit on that edge, and I'm going around the entire image with a somewhat thick film of it, but not so thick that it starts sliding over the edges and over the top of the rhinestones. We don't want that. So I'm just kind of going around the whole image. And what's going to happen is, once this dries, it's going to look like glass over the top of this tin. It's going to seal that image, and it's going to give it a beautiful finish. And I'm just kind of getting this in here around these roses and making sure that it's up to the edge around the entire tin. You have to pay attention with glossy accents, because number one, you have to make sure you check for bubbles, because it will get a few bubbles here and there. And then you want to, sorry, that was my phone. And you want to make sure each area is filled in, because you can also miss areas and not realize that you missed them. So I just kind of take it and go like this so that I can see where maybe I have a spot that's not covered. Okay, so I do have the entire top covered with the glossy accents. And then lastly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Flora Craft diamond dust, and I get this on Amazon. I will add a link down in the description menu. And I'm going to take a little bit in this little spoon scoop. I'm not going to put it over everything. On this piece, I'm going to put it just in certain areas. I don't want it on her face. So I'm just kind of going around more the edges than anything to give it extra sparkle. And again, I'll be able to show you now sort of the sparkle, but at the end I will be able to, once it's dry, I will be able to do another little video to show you, and I may not even need to do that. I'm looking at it now and it looks pretty good, and the glossy accents did not add too much of a milky look. So I may be able to just show you guys now the sparkle that this is going to have. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And I'm going to say this is probably one of my favorite pieces that I've recently done. The problem is now, I know you guys have seen the inside of this. This is the outside. Look at the sparkle in this thing. OMG. It is gorgeous. I don't want to open it right now to show you the inside again though, because this is not dry, and then I will make a mess and I'll ruin the entire piece. So I will put pictures at the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this project. I really enjoyed doing it for you, and hopefully you can find some of these little amazing tins and do a similar project to this. Nancy, thank you again so much for sending me these little tins. I'm going to do another one using the other tin that you gave me. And I don't know what theme this one will have. It may be different. It may be an angel, but I don't have any more angels like the one that's on the inside of this one. All the ones that I have some other ones. Maybe I do have something I can use. So we'll think about it. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you are not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when I do new videos. And I thank you all for watching. Be safe out there during this really trying time for everyone. Be blessed and take care of yourselves. Thanks so much. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.